Good afternoon, fans, and welcome to the virtual Senior Day ceremony for the Haverford College men's squash class of 2021. The Haverford College men's squash team would like to recognize the two seniors on this year's team for their wide impact and contributions that this group has left on the program during their time here at Haverford. Since these two talented seniors stepped on campus, the team has reached double-digit wins in each of the last three competitive seasons, has had a winning record in each of the last four seasons, the first time in program history that the squad has had even three consecutive winning seasons, and ranked 28th at the end of the 2017-18 season, the highest year-end ranking for the Fords since the 2004 and 5 season. The team also competed at the CSA Team Championships Conroy Cup in each of the last 3 years. The first senior that we'd like to honor today is Davis Chase. Davis came to the Fords from Pomfret, Connecticut, and was named a team captain in each of the last 2 years. He played exclusively at the top 3 flights on the ladder for the Fords, playing only at number 1 during each of the last 2 years. He guided the team to the CSA Team Championships, anchoring a Conroy Cup squad in each of the last 2 years. He recorded 32 wins despite playing just 3 competitive seasons, and ranks 12th all-time in program history for career wins. During a standout sophomore campaign, he went 13-4 in team competition and began that season on a 7-match win streak. He represented Haverford at the CSA Individual Championships after both the 2018-19 and 2019-20 seasons, and was named a College Squash Association Scholar Athlete following the 2019-20 campaign. A chemistry major with a biochemistry concentration, Davis will graduate from Haverford in May. Here now, with a tribute to Davis, are juniors Aaron Whitkin, Alden Weinberg, and Kyle Riedich.
Davis is someone who I always knew was leadership material for this team. Even in my first few days as a freshman, when he was a sophomore, I saw great captain potential in him, and I was right. With him, it's always team first, me second. Whether that means sacrificing his own time for team activities or keeping us energetic and excited for games, hyping us up on court before we go into our match, it's always in service of the larger team goal. I respect him, and I know he respects us as valuable team members of this program, consistently asking for input and knowing what to say and do at every moment. His leadership, especially through the pandemic, has been a privilege to have because it keeps us working hard. It keeps us motivated and disciplined, and at the same time, he knows how to make us laugh. He's been a great friend and mentor to me throughout the team, throughout my squash career, and I couldn't be more appreciative of his work. Thanks, Davis.
How's it going? I'm here to talk about Davis Chase, one of our senior captains. It's been a weird year with Corona, and I just want to say right off the bat, he has done an incredible job at being a captain and a mentor and a leader on this team, to kind of bring us through this and make it a time that's been beneficial in so many different ways, whereas I could have seen this being a time that we think about as just throwing it out. When I first came to Haverford, starting as someone who was in the middle to bottom of the ladder, someone who this was a completely new community to me and everything, I was definitely not feeling the most comfortable. And Davis was one of those people who really made me feel a part of the team, made me feel a part of Haverford. Everything from being someone who was awesome to drill with on court to someone who I could absolutely just jam out on the bus ride to and from matches. So I'm just so grateful for that. But he's really been an incredible captain and one of my close friends at Haverford. So we'll miss you, Davey.
Davis is an all-around incredible athlete and competitor, accomplishing things that to the rest of us seemed somewhat fantastic. Not only does he consistently get to balls on court that we think are dead winners, but he also has a way of surprising the team with his ability. I remember one specific training session last year where we were timing our fly 10s, basically how fast we could run 10 meters with a running start. So a few of us go, we're getting numbers like 1.24, 1.26, 1.34. Then suddenly as I'm walking back, I hear an outrageous number like 1.07 or 1.05. And I hear people saying, "What?" And I turn around and Davis is trailing off at the end of the markers. The effect that this excellence had on us was, okay, how close can I get to that?
Our final senior today is Fitz Dougherty. Fitz joined the Fords from right up the road in Villanova, Pennsylvania, and the Shipley School. Red team captain during each of the last 2 seasons, he had a team best 13-6 record during the 2019-20 season, splitting time between the second, third, and fourth spots in the ladder that year. He secured all but one of his wins that year via sweep. He's tied for 5th in program history with 40 career wins in just 3 seasons, and he looked poised to take over the wins record before the COVID-19 pandemic canceled the 2021 season. He will graduate as Haverford's career winning percentage leader among players with at least 15 match wins, as he holds a career record of 40-12. He started his Haverford tenure with a first-year campaign that also ended in historic fashion, as he set the program record for wins by a first-year player with 14. Also a standout in the classroom, he was named to the Philadelphia Inquirer Academic All-Area Team after the 2018-19 season, and earned College Squash Association Scholar Athlete status after the 2019-20 campaign. An environmental studies major, Fitz will graduate from Haverford in May. Here now with the tribute for Fitz, our juniors Kyle Riedich, Aaron Whitkin, and Alden Weinberg.
The words that come to mind when I think of Fitz are exemplary and consistency. Fitz always led by example in kind of an extraordinary way. Whenever we were in lifts or in team events, he was always the quietest, the most focused, and the one working the hardest. And the effect that had on our team was one of seriousness, one of, okay, we're training now. We may want to mess around and joke and goof. And while there were times for that, Fitz would always reel us back into the task at hand. He was always the one looking out for concrete goals and cracks in our armor where things could be improved. Now, the consistency comes into play, in my mind, through his ability to literally grind out his opponents on court until they had nothing left. And when they finally did fall, he still always had more in the tank.
Fitz was the kind of guy who would check up on you when you needed something, but didn't want to ask for it. He was always trying to push us to do better on and off court, staying fit, working on racket skills, improving footwork, and just generally reinforcing a really positive and active team dynamic. Every practice, he was always looking for ways to improve his game, but at the same time, looking to improve other people's games, almost more than himself. He would take the time if you asked to work with you on any kind of skill, physical or mental, any time of day, any time of week, and he always gave fantastic advice. As a captain, he's disciplined and he's focused for games and practices on a level that is beyond the rest of us. He never strays from the task at hand, and he works incredibly hard for even the smallest of improvements for both himself and for the rest of the team. He inspired us to act that way, and to live our lives that way, and to play squash that way. Thanks, Fitz.
All right, now I have to talk about Fitz, or as I like to call him, Fitzy. I'm just going to start this by saying he is, without a doubt, like the hardest working person I've ever met. Whether that's like on match day, during practices, during lifts, during team dinners, literally anything that you can like lock into and you can mentally be completely there and completely focused. Like, that's who Fitz is. And he is just like, that carries over into his squash completely. And like the competitiveness of him is, it's inspiring, for lack of a better word. He's someone who really has inspired me to become a much more focused individual, a much more dedicated individual. And to that, I owe him a lot. But just like, as a friend on the other side of the spectrum, get away from the whole captain thing and whatnot, he is also just like an incredible guy. He yells at me a lot. He tells me to quiet down. He tells me to knock off my shenanigans. And, that's what you get from a good friend. But in all seriousness, he's been someone who I've cherished greatly having on this team, and someone who's made me feel a part of Haverford men's squash and Haverford in general. And for that, I got to thank him so much. I love you, Fitzy. I love you, Davey. My boys.
How about one more big round of applause for the Haverford College men's squash class of 2021. We would like to thank you for attending today's virtual ceremony, and we hope to welcome you back to the GX Squash Court soon.